Today we're on location at the Polk County Sheriff's Office Special Operations Division to learn all about the exciting things that our deputies get to do. I'm joined today by County Commissioner Mike Scott, as well as Captain Paul Wright. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Captain Wright, I'd like to start with you. So, special operations, that sort of encompasses a lot, right? Talk to me about what the division actually does.
It does. It encompasses several different units within the Sheriff's Office: ag, environmental, marine, and aviation. As you can see behind us, we're standing in front of one of our 3 helicopters here at the Sheriff's Office, as well as our fixed-wing aircraft on the other side. So this division, it does a lot of different things for the county and actually for the state as a whole. So internally at the Sheriff's Office, this unit supports everybody else. So if there's something that can't get done, whether it's moving equipment or maybe, say, clearing debris looking for evidence, this is the unit that gets called to do those kind of oddball type jobs outside the law enforcement scope. They also are responsible for specific items inside their field of, and let's say ag. The ag deputies, they're assigned to specifically cater and respond to that agricultural community here in Polk County, whether it be the citrus, the cattle, the blueberries, the phosphate mines. They're specially trained with specialized equipment to respond to those type of locations and possible issues and problems that those customers of ours might have. We move on to, say, marine. Marine in Polk County is kind of busy, right? With over 550 named lakes in the county, we have 2 marine deputies permanently assigned to maintain and watch over those lakes and try to encourage safety, boater safety, and enforcement of those laws on those lakes. Our environmental crimes, we jokingly call them the trash police, but those folks are out there to try to ensure that these people that are dumping trash illegally, tires in the woods or on the side of the road, environmental spills, they investigate that using specialized equipment and training as well. And then our final component of that Special Operations Division is our aviation component. And they're our overwatch for the county, right? That's kind of what we call them. We have specialized equipment on the front of the aircraft that allows us to watch our deputies and ensure that they're safe while they're either maybe on a canine track or we're looking for a lost or missing person that could be in the woods and try to recover them as fast as possible. So those are kind of the components that make up special operations in their actual day-to-day jobs. So there are some other things that we can talk about that they do, but that's kind of the focus on what they do Monday through Friday, kind of 8 to 5.
Commissioner Scott, when we started planning this episode and we sat down, this was your idea and you were very excited to talk about this division. Why was this so interesting to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Captain Wright's done a great job of really educating me when I came into the commission seat of how broad we are on the services that we offer to our residents in this county. And a lot of times you think about, a law enforcement as only cars on the road, you're maybe enforcing speed or you're doing DUI checks or maybe, criminal mischief type stuff. Not really realizing how diverse we have to be as a sheriff's office to really fulfill all the obligations. As Captain Wright had mentioned, when you talk about water emergencies or water enforcement, when we talk about a lot of the wooded areas that we have, you can't take, even if it's a 4-wheel drive truck, you can't take it off of the highway and get back to where maybe there is, say, crime or just a need for help. That's a call to it. And we always say as a board, we want to be so responsive and the cavalry's on the way whenever you call 911. And for me, this is one of the coolest divisions that we have, and not because of all the neat assets that we have, but truly how diverse we are and how immediate we can respond when needed, whether that's a routine, kind of call or if it's a natural disaster like a hurricane.
And speaking on disaster response, Captain Wright, talk about the role that your division plays when it comes to responding to natural disasters like a hurricane or whatever else may be the case down here in Florida.
So Sheriff Judd takes that very seriously, that natural disaster response. He's actually equipped us with a lot of specialized tools along with the county commissioners to be able to respond to our citizens in time of need and crisis. And that's exactly what it is. It's a time that really people are at their most vulnerable So we have some specialized equipment, and our specialized training allows us to go into these areas, whether it be flooded, whether it be with down trees, down power lines, everything's blocked, can't get to anybody. It allows us to go in and actually recover or deliver supplies to folks that might still be in the area. On top of that, now that's an internal inside the county. The sheriff is also a part of the FSA, which is the Florida Sheriff's Association for the state of Florida. And those sheriffs work together. The sheriff will approve us to respond to that other area, that other jurisdiction. Our guys, again, have specialized training, and we have a lot of specialized equipment that allows us to leave the county, go to an area, and be completely self-sufficient. So, and that's one of the important parts that the sheriff has made this unit was self-sufficient. So when we leave and go to an area, we have our own bunk trailers, we have our own command center, we take our own fuel, we take our own food and our own cook trailer. We even make our own water when we leave. So when we leave, we are completely self-sustaining. So when we go to an area that's been devastated, I think what folks don't realize is the first responders in the area live there too. They're also devastated. So when we come in, we can take over those services completely, not be a tax or a drain on them whatsoever, give them relief to get back on their feet for a short amount of time, and then give it back to them, and then we can return home. So that's kind of how we respond internally and externally for the county.
Commissioner Scott, you had sort of just began your role in 2024 when we were dealing with the aftermath of that hurricane. Talk about what you saw when you saw these sheriff's deputies going out there and putting their life and their bodies on the line to help recover and repair from this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's with great honor that we get to be a part of that response that the sheriff's office does, and to see them put their own personal lives on hold, and to be in the high water rescue vehicles, and to be from aerial surveillance, to understand what areas of the county needed the biggest response because the need was so great. And we had certain areas of the county that were without power for weeks. There's flood damage, there's tree debris down where there's roads that are impassable. And so for me to witness not only the effectiveness but the swiftness that we as a county and as a sheriff's office responded to really a county, right, that's just bigger than the state of Rhode Island. And so to think about how broad we have to be and how many men and women have to really put their life on hold and dedicate themselves, it certainly is an honor to be a part of that team. And it was eye-opening to see just how much they did and how selfless they were. I didn't meet any sheriff's deputy at all during that time that was begrudging about doing the response. They were happy to be helping their community, which to me speaks volumes of how great this, really as a whole, the sheriff's office really is.
And when we talk about, these machines that are like the ones behind us that, are really top of the line for our residents, one thing that does come up is that these are things that are expensive, upfront purchase, but the amount of money saved in the long run, when you think about lives saved, property saved, benefit to the taxpayers, talk about how the board has justified that expense.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, going first and foremost, from a life perspective, there is no cost on that. I think any of us that have lost a loved one, if you went back and said it costs $10 million, you'd find a way to get $10 million to just have one more day with that person. So for us, life safety, safety overall for every county resident is of utmost importance as a board. That's why we look at public safety as our number one commitment as a board of county commissioners. When we talk about the different assets that we have for the sheriff's office, oftentimes when we need a certain asset to go and respond to emergency, there's not time afforded to have a mechanic come and work on it and okay, well, this was a problem last time, let's air up the tire before we go out, or we need to fix this before we can respond. That could mean life or death. So for us as a county, it's approved budgets that allow us to purchase the assets that are of the quality that allow us to have a quick response time is paramount, and why we even have the assets. Because in my opinion, if you're going to buy subpar equipment, then now we're going to provide subpar services, and that's not what you expect. When you're in a natural disaster, you call 911, you expect immediacy. We have to have equipment that's going to support that need.
Commissioner, you're 100% right. And I know the sheriff is big about fiscal responsibility in this county. And that's one thing I want to point out about the aircraft that you're seeing right here is we actually have transitioned recently. We still need the aerial asset with the helicopter, but we had a helicopter that was much more expensive to operate. Did the same thing as this one, and this one's a fraction of the cost. So the sheriff, along with the county commission at the time, decided, hey, why don't we sell that more expensive asset, replace it with this one? We can do the same job, maybe a little bit better because we have more up-to-date equipment on it. But the operating costs are lower, the acquisition cost is lower. So I can tell you unequivocally, the sheriff, I think along with the county commission, is so fiscally responsible, especially when it comes to the higher end equipment that we have to deal with. It's unheard of. In any other place, I deal with a lot of other special ops type units across the country in law enforcement, and especially aviation. I would absolutely say we're probably one of the most fiscally responsible in the nation.
Absolutely.
When it comes to that.
Captain Wright, just one more thing. What is the one thing that you would want residents to know about the Division of Special Operations?
We're here and we're always ready. No matter what, no matter when, if something happens and we're needed, we will absolutely be here to respond and help in any way we can.
Well, on that note, I think it's a good idea for you guys to go ahead and get out and show our residents some of the equipment that you get to work with every day.
Outstanding. Sounds great.
We'd love to. So now we're outside of one of the coolest assets the Polk County Sheriff's Office has, and that is one of our command centers. And Captain Wright, what do we know about the command center, and why is it so important to us?
So this is actually one of 2 command centers that we have here at the Sheriff's Office. If one breaks down, if we need to put one in for maintenance, we have another one that can go. So these go out to all major scenes. If we need to move our administration or our investigators to the scene to make decisions, have group meetings, whatever it may be, it'll help speed the process up. It'll help kind of them collaborate together better in one location. So it can also move command to a specific location where we can direct, whether it may be a missing person or maybe even a disaster, we can run out of this command center at a location other than our main office. So these are actually purchased with federal grant funds years and years and years ago. These are 1988 trailers,
Wow.
Believe it or not. So we do have a whole group, that group that we talked about earlier, that's their responsibility to take care of these, maintain them, keep them clean and working properly. So maybe we go inside and take a look around.
That's awesome. Let's go take a look.
So now we're here inside the command center. As you can see, there's a little bit of equipment on the walls. Behind you is a smart board. Actually, we're at our location now, and this is what will happen if we come up on a scene. We'll usually put the incident location up. That way we can start drawing on it and making notes and things like that. We can also print these out. We have one of the big printers in the back. We can make maps of the area in case we're doing a search, a grid search or something like that. We can put it outside for deputies to use and to follow. Along with all the other TVs, we try to keep up to date on real time. So that's why we want to have as much information coming in as we can. And we can put these all on different stations and see what kind of information's out there when we're on scene. So in the back's a bathroom. It's generator powered. We'll walk up to the front here in a second. You'll see a command area. So we can literally do everything we can do from the main sheriff's office or one of the substations inside this mobile command center, and we can put it anywhere we need to put it. So just makes life a little bit easier in the law enforcement arena to get things done quicker and faster. And we all know that's what everybody wants these days, is quicker and faster
For sure.
resolutions.
Is this one of the units that you would see? So if there's a news briefing in the afternoon where Polk County Sheriff's Office is on scene and they're doing a news briefing, is this one of the units that you would see then in the field that's at a major, not necessarily a crime scene, but an incident?
Absolutely.
This would be one of the units?
If you see the sheriff's briefing, usually this is his backdrop.
Got it.
So this is what will be out there.
Gotcha. And what would the room that we're in now then, what would you typically have going on in this room?
So this is our main conference room. So we're gonna brief the sheriff or the chiefs. This is where detectives and incident investigators will come, discuss the case, come up with ideas, solutions, whatever it may be for the incident. This is where the decisions will get made and then passed along from here.
Okay, great. Well, continue on
Absolutely. And inside that command center area, you're going to see computers, radios, things like that, and all this information gets filtered through here. We can actually patch channels, which is the only other people that can do that are our main dispatch in Winter Haven, but we can talk to almost everybody in the state. UHF, VHF, 800 encrypted. We have multiple terabyte computers. There's actually a 30-foot mast on the back of the command center that goes up with a camera, and we can filter that through the computer or through the TV monitor as well. So back here in the back, you're going to see just a lounge area that folks can come get away from maybe the hustle and bustle of business for a minute. Our large printer, like I talked about earlier, where we were talking about we can print out maps and things and maybe hang them outside so deputies can see where we want them to go, what we want them to do, come up with game plans and different things like that. So maybe going back a step in time from the smart boards, but sometimes paper is still needed, in the field. So but that's really it. That's kind of, the coffee maker is super important for cops.
Right. You mentioned communications and being able to kind of patch in the different things. Why is that important when you look at a multi-agency response initiative? Why is that important, and being able to unify communication?
Said the magic word there, unified, right? So unified command, that's what we want to do, is we want to unify all those groups together so we can communicate and make sure that the information is getting passed along correctly to the right people at the right time. So that's how the citizens are going to get helped the fastest, quickest, best ways. So the good part is the sheriff's office works with every other agency within the county and even across the state in some facet to ensure that we have that type of communication, that we can talk to almost anybody in the state. And even if we don't have those capabilities, we have a great county radio shop that's through the commission's office that will make those adjustments and can pivot and make sure we have communication even with the people that we currently don't.
Perfect. And I think that often comes into play, especially on natural disaster responses, both in county and out of county. Could you just give an example of an instance where we did use that unified command working with other agencies besides just the Polk County Sheriff's Office?
Absolutely. So just recently, I think it was year before last, the Polk County Sheriff's Office, along with the other county partners, the radio shop, fleet and different things, responded to Taylor County, Florida, in response to hurricanes up there. And there, they are on a different radio system. They do things maybe a little bit different than we do. So we take the assets that we need. We took our radio communications tower along with personnel, and we were able to patch those communications together, as well as come up with a unified command plan of how we're going to do things and how we're going to attack these problems and address the issues in the community. And I think it came together well. Like I don't know how many people we saved, how many people we recovered. We helped them get back into their places. We protected their places from looters. Arrested a bunch of people up there that weren't supposed to be there, that were coming from other areas,
right,
to victimize victims.
Right.
So I think that communication piece is kind of the cornerstone of making all that work.
Yeah, because I'd say without our intervention there and having that unified communication, you really do have some splintered efforts, if you will, on trying to coordinate a cohesive response.
100%.
Yeah.
You're 100% accurate. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, let's go check out some other stuff.
Let's do it.
All right, so now we're obviously not in front of a trailer anymore, and it says SWAT. So Captain Wright, tell us a little bit about this.
So what we have here is one of our armored personnel vehicles for our SWAT team. This was actually acquired through the military, is a part of our fiscal responsibility that we talked about. We get this from the military, so your federal dollars have already paid for it, so there's no need for your county dollars to pay for this. So it's really an unfortunate necessary item that we need at the sheriff's office, and it's that kind of emergency break glass kind of thing. So you don't know when you might need it, but when you need it, you need it. You know, we talked about it earlier. So it's completely armored. There's some stuff on it that we're not going to talk about, but I feel confident that we'll put our guys into any situation that could arise, and they're going to be protected inside this. So
that's impressive. And I guess this one is like all-wheel drive. It's kind of an all-terrain type application too.
Absolutely.
Go anywhere.
absolutely go anywhere, go off road. It's the same vehicle that they were using overseas with the military that they were in the desert with. So all-wheel drive, mine-resistant, armor all the way around.
Right. Well, no, it's a great to have. Like I said, you don't want to have to use it, but when we need it, we're gonna have it.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep rolling. All right, so we went from land and now we're to water. So Captain Wright, tell us a bit. I see an airboat, I see a non-airboat. What are these boats even used for, and why do we need them?
So we need them because Polk County, if most people don't know, have over 550 named lakes.
Wow.
And we're responsible to maintain the safety of our citizens on those lakes as well as enforcement. So these boats kind of encompass what we need to do that safely across the county. So there are still places in the county that are not easily accessible by a traditional boat like this one here. So that's where the airboat comes in. So we can actually take this off the trailer and drive it down the road, put it in the water and go do what we need to do. So we use these a lot over on the east side of the county when you get towards Kissimmee and Hashnahal and some of those more wooded type lakes and things like that. They also have their purpose if we need to get into an area of hydrilla or a lot of weeds or things like that. We can use an airboat that's going to get us there. It's not going to have a problem. So what we call a kicker boat or a traditional motorboat, we use those mainly for patrol in most of the lakes. We do a lot of patrolling in the chain of lakes over in Winter Haven, even the chain over towards Kissimmee as well.
Okay.
With this type of stuff. We actually run dive operations here at the Sheriff's Office too. We have a dive team. It's a part-time dive team. They're all volunteers from patrol that come out, and the Marine unit is in charge of that. So these boats also help deliver that equipment and those individuals to the locations they need to do, to whether it be evidence recovery or unfortunately body recovery during a possible drowning or something like that. So we have a multitude of boats. This is just an example of them, but this allows us to safely patrol all the lakes in the county and do what we've been tasked to do from the commission.
On over 550 named lakes, and that's a lot of real estate to cover as well. So I'm glad that we have the assets to keep our residents safe.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right, so now we're in a emergency vehicle that has no sirens, but it can serve up some Southern hospitality, but more importantly, provide a lot of benefit on emergency response. Captain Wright, tell us a bit about what we're in now.
So right now you're in our food services emergency response trailer. It's actually a commercial kitchen, and this thing goes with us anytime we deploy on a natural disaster. If we have to go out of town, it comes with us because it's feeding about 50 deputies breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for about 20 days. So we also use it a little bit for events around the county. And what I mean by that is if we have a local event, let's say like Jeeping with Judd, we can pull it out there and feed the deputies so they don't have to leave and they can stay at the event or something to that effect like that here in the county.
Yeah, I think it's great to have these because when you look at it, keeping deputies, fed, one, is important, but two, on scene and where they're most likely needed is a great asset. So this is a tremendous, I think, insight into how we are best operating and efficient at what we do as a Polk County Sheriff's Office.
I think that's one of our big words out here is effectiveness and efficiency.
Perfect. Serving up next. So now we're in front of one of the more iconic assets of Polk County Sheriff's Office. And Captain Wright, tell us what we're standing in front of.
So this is what we refer to as our swamp buggy or our high water rescue vehicle. We take this pretty much everywhere we go on disaster deployment because you never know what you're going to run into. And obviously, we're not going to have a problem with high water in this. So we can actually take water almost to the bottom of the platform here. It's been used all over the county and actually all over this state. You see this all the way from Fort Myers all the way to the Panhandle. Several years ago when we had a hurricane hit Polk County, there was a place over in South Lakeland off of Lake Bonnie. They had 4, sometimes 5 foot of water in their residences. So we were delivering supplies in this. We were recovering residents from their homes in this and taking them to safety. So this has been an actual critical piece of equipment through the years for the Sheriff's Office and that disaster response.
Yeah, for those watching, I'm over 6 feet tall and there's still clearance above my head. So this is a tremendous asset for us to be able to go And like you said, deliver supplies, provide recovery efforts to those that are stuck in a home that's flooded out there on the roof or whatnot. This is really a great asset to have. And, I really do like how we've, kind of, you look at the rigidity of this thing, it looks like it really could drive through the woods somewhere in water and just keep on going. That's pretty impressive. All right, well, we've elevated our game as much as we can, so we appreciate you guys watching this PGTV episode. And Captain Wright, thank you very much.
Hey, my pleasure. Anytime.